Here, what's goody team? What's goody team? Welcome to tonight's session for August 25th, 2025. Hope everyone has had a good day so far. Gio, welcome, welcome. Still a little sick, but feeling better than I was this morning, that's for sure. Hopefully, by tomorrow I'll be better than I was today. But if anybody has any questions, let me know. Any specific pairs that you guys want me to go over, let me know. The ones we will be going over are the ones that you see with the red flag next to their name, starting off with AUD-USD, finishing off with US oil. But again, if you guys have any questions about any other pair, whether or not they're on our list, just let me know. Here, what's goody, Mohammed? Chillin', man, I'm chillin'. Can't complain. Boring ass trading day today, can't even lie. But it was all good. Chilled at the house today. It's been raining all day. It literally just stopped like maybe 20 minutes ago. So it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was bad this morning. It was like really, really slow. Um, there was a few pairs. It's like kind of pretty much like what I said, right? Like usually on a Monday, especially when you have no news, you'll get the move towards the end of the day, right around like 1, 2 p.m. And that's exactly what happened with every single pair, almost every single pair. Right, GJ gave us a nice little retest of the 4 hour engulfing. GU started pushing the same way as EU. Right, US30 just kept tanking. I wasn't really expecting this. I honestly just thought price was gonna consolidate for the rest of the day once 11 a.m. hit and I started seeing these exhaustion candles. I'm like, yeah, I'm done looking at US30. If I would have just kept looking at it for another 2 hours, now 1 p.m. is literally when it wanted to push down a little bit more, but it's all good. It's part of the game. On my way home on my mom's iPad, alright, bet. No problem. We'll give everybody till 7:10, 4 minutes to join. Again, I'll open up the floor to you guys. Any questions, any pairs that you guys are looking at, any any entries you guys took that you want me to break down, let me know. Can you look at NAS? I got you. We'll look at NAS at the end of the stream. The pairs that we don't have on, we'll do those at the end. So we'll go through our list first, and then we could do NAS at the end. Mr. Albert, welcome, my brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh man. Damn, U.S. military invading Chicago next month? Hey, bro. Yo, Kendall, you gotta get the fuck up out of there, man. Alright, since no questions in the chat, we'll get started. Um, should be a pretty quick and easy one since we didn't do a weekly market breakdown this weekend. We'll pretty much go through the pairs. Daily time frame is pretty much the same across the board for a lot of these pairs, but we'll talk about it. It's all good. We'll give you guys a little bit of information on these pairs. Um, that the U.S. military is invading Chicago next month. They're gonna be deployed inside Chicago next month, man. I'd be fucking walking outside with my hands up all day, like, yo, I'm chilling, man. I'm just trying to go to work. I'm just trying to go to work. Don't shoot me. It's crazy though. Gotta get the fuck up out of there, man. Alright, so AU, we know that we are in level 3 on a downtrend. Right, we have push 1, first zone of consolidation, push 2, second zone of consolidation. We had the start of push number 3, which was the break of structure of the zone of consolidation, which we got here, right, which is the lower low, and now we're looking for a lower high to be set. As we know, again, we have 2 points of interest. Our first point of interest was the 800 EMA. Once we get to our point of interest, this is where we want to start seeing the change of character and the break of structure. On the 4-hour time frame is where we're going to see that. Now, price gave us the change of character and then gave us the inducement of the break of structure. And instead, after price gave us the inducement, it gave us a bullish engulfing candle here on the daily time frame. So let's mark this up real quick. Now, why is this important? Right, and as I said, and as I stated before, right, we have 2 points of interest, daily engulfing. Right, so our second point of interest, where we're expecting price to give us a lower high to then give us that lower low, is this 30-minute gap here at the top of the charts, right? So the fact that price failed to give us a break and it gave us an inducement instead, and then it printed a daily engulfing candle, this is where I'll really be expecting price to give us something where price comes back down, right? Start that uptrend push to continue that push to the top side to reach the 30-minute engulfing. Or I'm sorry, the 30-minute gap that we have at the top of the market. So right now we're just following the trend, right? On the 30-minute time frame, we had a change of character to the bottom side. Again, what we want to see to continue the trend is not just a change of character, right? After the change of character, we want to see that break of structure. The fact that price just gave us the change, continued to push down to the bottom, again gave us the inducement, started to push to the top side. I could be expecting price for AU to continue that uptrend push. So right now for AU, once again, I'm hands off. Right, once we reach our point of interest to start looking for shorts, once again, that's when I'll start looking to take these trades. So for AU right now, just got to be patient, wait it out, and we'll come back to it when it's ready. Alright, I'm not saying that out loud. Will that be a nice thing? No. I don't, not for Chicago, I don't believe so. There's just a lot of cities, a lot of states here in the country that they're pretty bad when it comes to gun violence and drugs and a whole bunch of other bullshit that's going on. And there's a few there's a few states, few cities in those states that are they talked about that happening. Chicago was one of them. I think Washington DC is another one. Um, if I'm not mistaken, San Francisco at one point was a state, or San Francisco was a spot that they were going to go to as well. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but yeah, there's a few places here in the states that it's just really bad, bro. It's really bad. But you know, a lot of it is not even politics, man. A lot of it is just human decency and common sense. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what they do. It's shit's still gonna happen. You know, we've seen it from time to time again. You know, everybody's raging about, oh, gun control and all this stuff, and it's like, yo, we're acting like that's really gonna make a huge difference. Like, will it make a dent? Will it make it less? Maybe. We won't see as much bullshit, but at the same time too, people here and people around the world, it's not even only here, I'm not gonna generalize. They're just crazy, man. It's just, there's a whole bunch of things that need to be fixed around the world globally, which it is not beneficial for the people in power, right? So, you know, gun control means less gun sales. Less gun sales means stocks go down. Stocks go down mean the people in power lose money, right? So it's really just a power thing. It's a money thing. That's what people don't realize. And even though that sucks to say, again, it's just it. That's money makes the world go round, man. It's always been that way. That's nothing new. It's not something from this generation. It's been a thing forever, right? It was a thing with drugs, and instead of they found the loophole, which is, oh, we're not gonna criminalize drugs, or we're gonna not make it criminal anymore, but now the government's selling drugs, in the name of dispensaries. People gotta buy the license, you gotta pay for the fees, more taxes, you could tax more things, more money goes round, right? So there's no way, bro. There's no way to control anything without, again, like the human decency part, but the government will find a way, bro. They always do. They'll find a way to profit off of the rules that they decide to do at the end of the day. So that's really all that it is at the end of the day. Just stay safe out there, bro. That's why I stay home, man. That's why I stay home. There's nothing to find outside, bro. You look at the news here, all you see is people shooting at each other, like, for some stupid shit. Like, you know what I mean? I live a very peaceful life to put myself in situations like that. Oh, you can't live in fear. Fuck that. I'd rather live in fear than be fucking stuck in a movie scene. I'd rather live in fear than be the one put in a fucking t-shirt. Long live Lewis. Fuck that. I'm chilling. I'll long live till I'm 80 in my house. I'm chilling. It's crazy, bro. You literally cannot leave your house here without being in fear of some shit happening. So, you know, it is what it is. Staying in the crib once I got the new spot, I'm telling you, man. No, it was really bad. Like when I first moved out to Orlando, when I when I went to college here, there was a whole bunch of shit that was going on, like in downtown. Like you go to downtown now compared to what it was 5, 6 years ago, and it's completely dead. And in the last 5 years has been really, really bad down here in Orlando. It's been Central Florida, bro. You go out, you go to clubs, you go to bars, you go to downtown. It's just people shooting at each other, fights everywhere. It's horrible. And now you go to downtown, it's just empty. And that's what happens. Like the city suffers, the people suffer because nobody wants to go out no more. Nobody does shit. And then every once in a while, once a week, you see the news, and it's just the same thing over and over again. It's like, all right, man. Like it is what it is, and it's everywhere, bro. Like couple weeks ago, it happened at the theme parks here in Universal Studios. People in the garage got in a fight, and that happened a few years ago too. So it happens. So, but there's nothing that gun control won't that won't ever stop it, right? Because I mean, gun control, okay, cool. People are gonna start chasing you with fucking knives and axe, right? And it's not even only that. Like you got the black market. You got the smugglers that are gonna make the most money from that too. So, oh, you don't sell them here in the States, come to cross the border and come get it from here. You know what I mean? So there's a whole bunch of shit that has to go down to it. Again, it doesn't take a genius to kind of understand why it is that they don't make the moves that they make. So they solve one. They're trying to solve. Just we'll end it at this conversation, Albert, so you could kind of understand where I'm coming from with this. It's like you get gun control in the States, cool, but then there's another problem that they're trying to solve, which is people crossing the border from one country to the other, right? Which is a country where people are smuggling in illegal drugs, right? So what do you think is gonna happen if they get gun control in the States? More smugglers are gonna come in from the other countries. They're gonna cross the borders, and not only are they gonna bring drugs, but then they're gonna bring illegal weapons. So now we're gonna have illegal weapons roaming the streets. We're gonna have illegal drugs roaming the streets. Nothing's gonna change. It's just gonna get worse. So it's like while they're trying to juggle too many battles at once, which ultimately is what's happening right now, which is, yo, everybody's just going crazy. They're just doing whatever they want. But life is very simple, man. You don't bother nobody, nobody bothers you. Like, that's just really how life is. But the problem is, everybody has their own egos, everybody's fighting their own demons. You know, there's a whole bunch of crazy, that's another conversation we could go into. Like, the jail system, the prison system here, it's fucked up. Like, a lot of these people don't even, I'm not gonna say they don't deserve to be in jail, but a lot of these guys, it's not that they don't deserve it, it's they're not in the right mind. They're fucking crazy. Like, put them in a psych ward. But then that costs too much money, because then they're like, oh well, if we put everybody in a psych ward, how much money does a psych ward need to have? It's easier to just run a prison system, right? Funded by taxes. It's easier, funded by the government. There's a whole bunch of stuff again that we could go into, right? Because depends on what system you're in, depends on what jail you're in. A lot of those jails produce a whole bunch of shit that we use here, right? There's a whole bunch of things that people who are incarcerated, there's a whole bunch of things that are produced in jails that a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's a reason why they're working in there. Yeah, they're not just there sitting in a block. Like, a lot of those people are, some of them are, right? Some are, but for the most part, a lot of these guys produce items that need to be made and manufactured, and there's a whole bunch, man. There's a whole bunch. All I'm saying is, I'd rather stay home, bro. There's nothing good outside. Nothing good, bro. I got a house with a few lakes on the property. I'm chilling here, man. I don't need nothing else. Go to the fucking gas station when I need to. Go to the supermarket when I need to. Come bring my ass right back to the house, man. I don't need to go out. I'm chilling. Can't even go to the movie theaters without motherfuckers trying to fight, trying to fucking shoot at everybody. Like, I'm good, man. There's too much shit going on down here. But that's a lot. Again, that's everywhere. Every country's the same way. There's, that's just human nature. It's just human nature. All right, so AUD CAD, we're in A1, the first zone of consolidation on a downtrend. We're still in the zone of consolidation. Price never broke these lows. We just got the inducement of the lows. Once we got the inducements of the lows, price came up and just started giving us a lower time frame, right? If we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we're just stuck in a zone of consolidation. So what I do like about AUD CAD is that we're at the top of the zone of consolidation, but once again, what I really want to see is just continuations, right? The worst thing about AUD CAD right now is the fact that we don't really have any 30-minute highs or 30-minute lows within the structure when we zoom in, right? We know that we're still trading between this higher high, higher low, higher high. Price then came down and gave us this higher low down here, right? And it gave us this higher low here because price came up, right, and gave us this break of structure, which gives us this higher high over here, right? So we're still on an uptrend. Price still hasn't turned around on the 30-minute time frame. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. So we just want to be very careful with AUD CAD. Once again, if price, when we're looking at market structure, when we're looking at where we're at in the overall trend, price is reaching the top of the zone of consolidation. So the easiest trades to take when you're in a zone of consolidation is if price comes up, gives you an inducement of the highs to then go down, or if price gives you a break of structure at the bottom of the zone of consolidation to continue the push, right? Everything else that's in the middle, I just rather stay away from it. It's just the market makers inducing traders, just trapping traders, making them believe that price is going to go lower, or vice versa, right? Making them believe that price is going to go higher to then just hit everybody's stop loss. So right now for AUD CAD, just taking a step back, very similar to AU. Once again, once we start seeing the downtrend pushes, that's when I'll start trading AUD CAD. Euro AUD, congratulations to everybody who stayed away from this trade that we talked about, right? We talked about it earlier this morning. I was like, yeah, we have a 3rd-week push to the top side. Let's start from the top to the bottom, right? Euro AUD, we know we're in level 3 on an uptrend. We're looking for price to reach our previous peak highs, which are in these. Looking for price to reach our previous peak highs, which are in these zones up here, right? In this zone up here, right? We had the double bottom, push 1, first zone of consolidation, push 2, second zone of consolidation, and we're looking for the final push, number 3, to continue the push back to the top side. On the daily time frame, again, we know that price reached these highs. we're looking for a valid break of these highs. On the daily time frame, technically we didn't get a valid break because price never broke above this green candle's wick over here. Price just gave us this, the inducement and then went right back down to the bottom. However, this is the area where we were looking for a valid break of structure on the 4-hour time frame, right? Because this is 4-hour structure. And we did get a valid break on the 4-hour time frame, technically speaking. Right? If we look, we're looking for price to break these highs. Boom. We got the break. Right? Once we got the break, I was like, all right, cool. We have 2 weeks of rise. Could we be looking for a third week? This is where it gets a little bit more technical. Right? Going into the lower time frames, seeing how price is reacting, that's really what's going to save a lot of people from taking just bullshit trades. Right? Understanding the fact that we were still trading on the 30-minute time frame, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? How far back is this pullback going to be, right? The second thing that you have to really focus on as well is like, all right, we have a third week push that we're looking for. From Thursday to Friday going into Monday, just look at how steep the pullback is, right? And there's a whole bunch of other things we could take into consideration, like the EMAs, right? This is why we still have them on our screen. Even the EMAs, they were all downtrending, right? Everything about Euro AUD today was on a complete downtrend, right? And we really don't have to go that into details. Like, oh, well, now you're talking about EMAs and blah, 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 blah. Cool. We don't really have to, right? When we're looking at market structure, when we go down into a lower time frame, right? If we were to go down into the lower time frame and we just look at what we were looking at during the live trading session, we could see that price was always on a downtrend, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Like price never turned around. Even when price gave us a retest of the engulfing candle, right? Again, we understood, well, yeah, we're on the retest, but price never turned around. Price was always giving us lower low, lower high, lower low, boom, lower high. Right? So in order for us to feel comfortable taking a position, whether it's an engulfing candle, whether it's a bounce to the EMA, whether it's a 50% fib retracement, whether it's a type 1, type 2, or type 3 pattern, if you're trading double bottoms or double tops, in this case, if you were looking for a double bottom, you have to make sure that you're taking a double bottom when price is in an uptrend, right? Will you see double bottoms even if price is on a downtrend? Of course, we have a double bottom here, right? We have a double bottom here. We have a double bottom here. We have a double bottom here, right? But we understand that if you were to take this trade, because price was still lower low, lower high, lower low, you have to just babysit this trade and understand that you're still just trading the downtrend push. If price comes down and gives you the push, and then up here exactly what it gave you, an exhaustion candle, you know you have to get out of the trade. Because price is just grabbing contracts to go straight into stop loss. Right? So, Euro AUD for today, again, and for this week, this is a very low probability trade just based on the area that we're trading in overall. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to keep an eye on it. Right? We have 2 days of drop, today being the third day, right? We got a third day low, we already know the deal. After 3 days of drop, market must move sideways or go up. Now, something else to take into consideration. The fact that the market opened with a gap this week, we understand that gaps in the market reset the trend, right? So could price go lower? Absolutely, right? At this point, we know that price gave us a break of the 30-minute low, gave us a little change of character, right? From higher high, higher low, higher high, back down to the lower low down here. Let me get comfortable. I'm not comfortable at all right now. Right, so we have a change of character. So now we know that we're trading between this high up here and then these lows down here. We don't really have any set lows just yet, but we'll mark it up as these right here. If we need to change these tomorrow morning, then we will do that. But for right now, gonna be hands off on Euro AUD and just gonna wait for price to start turning around. Once price turns around, starts giving us higher highs and higher lows, that's when I'll start trading again. Like we talk about why patience is key. Patience is always key in trading, man. Patience is key. There's nothing more that you need than just patience in the market. Right? Yeah, having your trading journal and having your strategy, right? That's something that always comes. It'll come, right? Especially for the beginner traders, right? That's the the number one thing that beginner traders always have is like, oh, how long is it gonna take? But it's like you have to understand there's way more to it than just knowing the strategy, right? Because again, you can know the strategy, but when it comes down to taking live trades, do you have the discipline? Do you have the patience, right? Or are you just gonna enter and exit trades just free willingly, right? You're not really looking for anything. You're just taking trades just to take them, right? And I always use analogies because it always resonates with a lot of people. But again, it's the same thing like if you were at school taking a test, right? If you're anxious and nervous while taking a test, you're just gonna put whatever answers down. You're not taking your time. You're just rushing through it. Oh, I'm just gonna get this over with. I think this is what the answer is, right? Instead of if you're doing a reading test, right? Language arts test, whatever the case is, gotta read the passage, answer the questions. If you don't know the answer, you have to go back, reread the passage, right? You have to come back to the question, read it again, right? And then you answer the question once you understand what it is that you read. But a lot of people get impatient, and instead of going back and rereading the passage, rereading whatever it is, the summary that they have to read to answer the question, they're just gonna bubble in whatever sounds better, right? In trading, that's gonna bite you in the ass. You can't just take a trade because you feel like it's gonna be a good trade. No, there's no such thing as feeling. There's you either know it or you don't know it. That's it. In trading, there is no middle ground. There is no, oh, I think. No, once you start saying that you think this is what's gonna happen, you're done. Don't even take a trade. And that's the biggest thing with a lot of traders. You know, even traders that've been trading for years. That's the number one thing that a lot of these guys lack, and it's patience and knowledge, right? So a little key, a little key lesson for the people who are just starting off. EuroCAD, we're in peak high territory, so I'm just gonna update this. I'm not going to be trading EuroCAD at all. I'll update our daily and 4 hour highs possibly by the middle of the week. I'm just gonna keep this updated for now, but I'm not going to be trading EuroCAD. We'll go on to the next pair. My mom listening. Hey, mama. Welcome, welcome. Daily time frame on Euro USD. We are in level 2 on an uptrend, right? We had push number 1, first zone of consolidation. We had push number 2 that gave us the break of structure, the retest, to then the continuation back into the higher high. So we already know for Euro USD, very similar to GBP USD, right? I am kind of expecting a steeper pullback, but right now what price is just giving us is sideways movement, just a zone of consolidation, right? And this is a good and a bad thing. Why is it a good thing? Because we already know that price is stuck in this range. Now, why is it a bad thing? Because this is where patience kicks in, right? Are you going to be one of those traders that are just taking trades because, again, you feel it, because you woke up and you decided to meditate or speak to the higher powers and be like, God, please help me? No, right? You have to understand, you have to wait for price to get to where it needs to go before you take a trade. And again, analogies are the best thing for people who are still learning how to trade, right? And it's always the bus stop analogy, right? If you're at the bus stop and you miss the bus, you're not going to go chase after the bus. You got to wait for the next bus and then get in on the next bus. You're not going to chase after it, right? So it's the same thing in trading. You have to be patient. You have to wait for your setup to be present and then you take the trade, right? If you show up to your charts and the setup is already happening and you were late to the charts, all good. Wait for the next opportunity, right? If you show up to the chart and there's nothing being presented, all good. Wait for the next opportunity. Come back the next day, right? Not every day is a trading day. And that's the biggest lesson that you will have to learn in trading. Not every day is a trading day, right? Daily time frame, we're still at the higher high, right? On the 4 hour time frame, we're still at the higher high where price is moving sideways. And we can see it on the lower time frame once we go down to the 30-minute time frame. We're just in a huge zone of consolidation where price is just inducing highs and inducing lows the entire time. right? Price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high on Thursday last week. It went down and gave us a lower low change of character. And then on Friday, with the news that hit, price came up, gave us a change of character back to the top side, higher high. And then for today, price just plummeted back down to the bottom. Again, just trapping traders. Right. Now, your question might be, well, what type of traders are they trapping? Well, if you go and you look up just Forex one-on-one, right? Trading style one-on-ones, right? Retail traders who are trading this as a flag post pattern stopped out straight to stop loss, right? So that's just one strategy that we're going to talk about. We're not even going to talk about um, the imbalance candles and the order blocks and the break of structure, none of that. We're just gonna talk about the flag post pattern traders, right? Straight to stop loss. Once again, why? Because we're in a zone of consolidation. Without a valid break, when you're in a zone of consolidation, if price does not give you a valid break of structure of the highs, you do not have a valid entry. Before you take a trade going long in a zone of consolidation, you need to see a valid break of structure. Once you get that valid break, that's when price is going to start continuing the trend to the top side. So right now, we're just trapped in a very big zone of consolidation, and we've been here, we count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. For the last 13 days, right? 2 weeks, which technically is 3 weeks because there's 5 days on a trading day, right? So it's technically 3 weeks that price has just been inducing traders going long and going short every single day. So just want to be patient with EU. EU is not a pair that I'm going to be trading right now. Again, very similar to GU. I should have got some water, man. All good. You should have seen me on Sunday. I ran after like my life depended on it. Oh no. Hey man, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You know what I mean? So it's all good. So you gotta buy a scooter next time. Start chasing the bus with the scooter. For GA is also in peak high territory, right? On an uptrend. We had push 1, push 2, push 3. Push number 3 gave us the push to the previous peak high. So again, GA, I'm not going to be trading it, but let's update it if we need to. Nothing to update on the daily, nothing to update on the 4-hour. Again, in the 4-hour time frame, we're just stuck in a very big zone of consolidation. And again, on the 4-hour time frame, you're looking at the weeks. So if we count it, right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 weeks where price has just been moving sideways, rejecting highs and rejecting lows the entire time, right? So once again, nothing to trade here, guys. There's nothing to trade here. This is another pair that you just have to sit on your hands and just be patient. There's nothing to trade here. We had higher high, higher low, higher high, and then price today finally gave us a little change of character down to the bottom side. Again, let's just keep this updated, keep our charts clean, get them ready for whenever it's the next time to trade them. So we're trading between this lower low down here and these highs at the top. On to the next pair. It was hectic. I had an exam that day. Oh man, you had to catch that bus. That's a fact. I don't miss those days though. Waking up on a Monday knowing that I had a test, nah, those were the worst days, man. GCAD, we are in level 3 on an uptrend. We know that we're expecting price to reach our previous peak highs at these highs over here. Once again, we had push 1 for zone of consolidation, push number 2, second zone of consolidation, and on our push number 3 to the top side, where price gave us the higher high, instead of giving us a simple higher high, higher low, it decided to give us, again, a zone of consolidation. And that's okay. Once again, the zones of consolidations are the easiest zones to trade. It's the easiest time to trade. Because you already know, you either are waiting for a break of structure or you're waiting for an inducement of the low. If you have an inducement of the low, you know you can take the trade back to the top side. If you have a break of structure of the top side, then you know you're just looking for price to give you a retest, right? A higher high going into a higher low. to then continue that push to the top side. So right now, that's what we're waiting for. We're sitting at the daily highs where, again, we still don't have a valid break. Once we go down to the lower time frames, if we go to the 4-hour, the 30-minute time frame, what do we see? Price is just moving sideways at these highs. So again, even the 30-minute is making this very simple for us. Right, at one point we had higher high, higher low, higher high. Price went down, gave us a change of character back down to the bottom, lower low. Then it came back up again. Tuesday going into Wednesday of last week, price came up, gave you another higher high change of character to the top side, and we're still trading between that high and this low. So we already know the two places that we're going to be looking to take trades. If price gives us an inducement of the low and then starts going back up, we know we could take these trades back to the top of the zone. If price gives us a valid break of structure of these highs with a retest, then we know we could take a trade back up in these areas. But again, right now, in the middle of the zone of consolidation, not taking a trade. I either want to see an inducement or I want to see the break of structure. So just got to be patient. Hopefully for tomorrow morning, we'll see an inducement of the low. If we get an inducement, again, we know we could take the trades back up to the top. If we got a break of structure of the bottom, then again, we just got to sit on our hands and wait for price to give us a pullback. Once price gives us the pullback, that's when we'll start taking the trade again from the higher low, going back up into the higher highs. So just got to be patient with GCAD as well. And it's pretty much similar. As you guys could see, every pair is treated the exact same way. There's no difference. And as of right now, these last, I'm going to say maybe month and a half, 2 months, a lot of these pairs are reacting the exact same way. Right? The exact same way. So just got to be patient, wait for price to do what it has to do. And again, this is nothing new. If you go to my trading journal, you guys will see that for the month of April, May, I literally took like what, 2 trades and for those 2 months. And that was because price was reacting the same way that it's reacting right now. Right? Just in zones of consolidation, price went from trending to consolidating. So we just have to wait for price to get away from these zones of consolidation. It's the same thing for GJ. Right? We're stuck at the top of the zone of consolidation. We're still in an uptrend. Every single time frame has its own zone of consolidation. Right? So what I like about GJ, gave us a change of character, gave us a break of structure, gave us a 4-hour engulfing candle, but this is going against the overall trend. So this makes the 4-hour engulfing candle going short, that bearish movement, it makes it very low probability. So we already know for GJ, again, this is a pair that for me personally, I'm not going to be trading it. Once we start trending, once we start getting the break of these highs, that's when I'll start trading. So right now, just going to pass over GJ and we'll go on to the next pair. Oh, it's Sunday, you're right. It was a Sunday. Who the fuck brings people to take tests on a Sunday? Nah, you see, I gotta be honest there. If my professors when I was at UCF, if they were to tell me, yo, you got a test on Sunday, I got a test on Sunday, I'm not even showing up. I've heard that August is too slow. You know, yes and no, Adrian. It depends on the seasons. It depends on what's going on. You know, it's like the same thing with people saying, "Oh, I don't trade Mondays and Fridays," but it's like there's reasonings to it, right? Historically, and as you know, we could go back and back test it, right? If you go look at how price moves Mondays and Fridays, if you go see how price moves the first weeks and the last weeks of the month, if you go see and how the market moves during quarter 4 and quarter 1 of the year, historically, yes, it's slow. So I'm not gonna say that it's wrong, but it's not something that's not tradable. You know what I mean? You definitely could still find setups. You could find A+ setups in this time of the month or at these points in the month, but it is historically slow. But I try to not really, how do I explain it? It's more of a psychology thing than anything else. And the reason I say that is because as soon as you start telling yourself, oh, December sucks, right? Because a lot of people say December sucks for trading, but last year December was my best month, right? Same thing when I always say like, oh, Mondays and Fridays aren't good days to trade, right? Like, yeah, like We could say that, but don't put it on the back of your mind to be like, oh, I'm never gonna show up to the charts Mondays and Fridays, right? It just becomes a psychology thing where you start blaming the market as to why you're losing instead of being like, no, I'm losing because I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do, right? Because again, that's the reason why I explained the 2 months where I didn't take a trade, and you could see that on the trading journal. The trading journal is posted. Is not that I wasn't looking at the charts. No, I was looking at the charts, but it's the behavior of how price was moving during those 2 months. So it really just boils down, exactly. It just requires more patience, right? That's really all that it is. It requires more patience. It really requires you to be on top of your game. Because as soon as you make a small mistake, that's it. Like there's no coming back from that mistake. You made the mistake, right? Again, you learned from the mistake. That's why I always say there's no losses in the market, right? The only time there's a loss in the market is when you take a loss and you start blaming somebody else or something else for the reason why you lost. Instead of saying, "Oh no, I lost today because I fucked up." Right? I made a mistake. Right? Once you take a loss in the market, you have to go back and you really have to read into why you lost. Right? Because if you take a loss and you're just blaming everyone and everything else, at that point, are you trading or are you just gambling? Right? Because when you go to Mikusuki, when you go to the Hard Rock Casino, right? When you go to 777 Casino in fucking in Cape Canaveral, right? You're not blaming yourself for losing in blackjack. You're not blaming yourself for losing in the slot machine, right? You know it's rigged. That's how the casinos work. So once you bring that mentality into trading where you start blaming the market makers and you start blaming, oh, it's just a stock market. You lose some and you win some. It's at what point are you trading and at what point are you just gambling, right? So that's really all that it is, right? That's all that is at the end of the day. Again, like I said, GU is very similar to EU. We're trading at a higher high. We're in level two on an uptrend. We're waiting for a pullback to happen. Now, the biggest difference between GU and EU is that GU did give us a pullback down to the 200 EMA, which is what we're looking for in level two. In comparison to EU, it didn't reach the 200 EMA. So the question is, oh, how far back is this pullback going to be? Price could always come back and retest the 200 EMA, right? Price could even go lower than that and give us a retest of this daily engulfing candle that price never gave us a pullback to, right? So it's just about reading market structure, reading what price wants to do, right? At these highs, we're not really consolidating, but we do see that price is making lower lows and lower highs, right? If we go down to the lower time frame, lower lows and lower highs are all around the area. So again, this is a pair that we just got to be very careful. 30-minute time frame did give us a change of character top to the top side. Again, if price decides to come up and give us a break of structure of these highs, then perfect, right? Higher high, higher low. If it gives us another higher high, higher low, we know we could take these trades back to the top side. But for right now, just gonna be patient with GU. It's again looking very similar to these other pairs that you can see. The movement is very similar. There's not a lot of difference on a lot of these pairs. Man, I really need water. Can you guys give me like a minute before we keep going? Cause I'm about to have a cough fest over here, man. Yeah, give me 1 second before I start coughing. I'm gonna go grab a water and we'll do NZD USD next. This is a good pair to keep an eye on as well. Give me 1 second. Let me go grab a water and a cough drop real quick. 1 second, team. I'm so sorry. Alright, my bad team. I had to go grab a water. Throat clogged up? Alright, Kendall. Where your mom's at, man? She gotta put you in fucking timeout. Shit, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Anybody call me? No, of course not. I got no friends anyway, man. Why would I even think that? Alright. Any questions so far, team? Any other pairs you want me to look at real quick? Give you 30 seconds before we get started again. Anything at all, let me know. Anything that's not making sense, anything you want me to explain, let me know. We're almost done. We're pretty much already done because these last 6 pairs I'm not trading it, right? Like US 30, USD CAD, ZAR, gold, Bitcoin, oil. I'm not really looking at them, but again, we'll go over them. We'll talk about it, and then Kendall, we'll go over NAS as well. Adrian, you're good? All right, cool. So NZD USD, we know we are. Sorry, excuse me. Where are we? We know we're in A2, right? We're in the second zone of consolidation on an overall downtrend, right? We had, if we look to your left, you can see that we had the 3 pushes to the top side. After we made the 3 pushes to the top side, we had the 3 pushes down to the bottom, right? We had the 2 pushes to the bottom, excuse me. We had the second zone of consolidation, and we're looking for that third push back down to the bottom. So we know that we're stuck at the bottom of the overall zone of consolidation. Now, if we go down to the lower time frames, we're stuck in a bigger zone of consolidation just on the lower time frame, right? And we were looking for a valid break of these lows, which we got. Not only did we get a break of the bottom of the zone of consolidation, but we also have a change of character and a break of structure back down to the bottom side. Not only that, we also have a 3rd week low to the bottom side. We had 2 weeks of drop last week and the week before. So this week, we are expecting price to give us that 3rd week low back down to the bottom. Right, we know that we were looking for price to bounce off the 50 EMA. Perfect, right? Everything is lining up perfectly for NZD USD, right? Even on the 30-minute time frame, we had a change of character. We had the break of structure all the way back down to the bottom. Gave us a lower low, lower high. Gave us a pullback. Perfect, right? This is now where we're going to start looking for price on the lower time frames to start giving us the change of character and the break of structure. So if we got our charts ready, right, on the 5-minute time frame, just so we could all visually see what NZD USD is doing, we had higher high, higher low, then price came down and gave us a change of character, lower low to the bottom. Alright, so let's add this 5-minute change of character, right? And now we know that we're looking for price to give us a valid break of structure of these lows. Now, ideally, you would want to see lower low, lower high, lower low, but instead, price is just giving us a zone of consolidation. So I know that I want to see a valid break of these lows before I start looking to take these trades, right? And let's see if price actually printed an engulfing candle here. No, not valid. Not a valid engulfing candle. First green candle doesn't have a wick. The red candle that gave us the engulfing candle does not have a top wick, so this is not a valid engulfing candle. Right, and then nothing. Ooh, on the 30-minute. Oh, let's see. Did the green candle close above the first green candle's wick? It's very close. I think it closed right on it. Alright, closed right on it. Not a valid engulfing candle, man. They did it? I don't know. Let me see. It's very, very, very close. You guys could see that it just opened right next to it. It did not close above it. So this is not a valid engulfing candle here. Would have been great though. You could see how it's just tapping traders in and out of that trade. Just hitting everybody's stop loss. If you're trading on a lower time frame, you're just getting your stop loss hit. So NZD USD is definitely one that we want to keep our eye on. Again, I am targeting last week's lows, so we'll be very patient with NZD USD, but NZD USD is definitely one on my watch list, not only for tomorrow but for the rest of the week. Alright, should I even talk about US 30? Like, I'm really not trading US 30. We're trading in peak high territory. We still have that gap on the 30-minute time frame, but I'm not really interested on US 30 right now. I'm really not. I'm not liking price action the way it's just trapping traders. Going both ways is just not my cup of tea. So I'm just gonna skip over US, like the pairs that I'm not really gonna be trading. I'm just gonna skip over. I'm really not interested in none of these pairs, right? USD CAD, really nothing to update here. We're stuck in a huge zone of consolidation, right? Huge zone of consolidation on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm really not trading these pairs, right? USDs are. We're still making lower low and lower highs. So this is another one that we just gotta wait for price to start turning around, and we'll talk about the reason why, right? USDs are on a higher time frame. We're stuck in the second zone of consolidation on an uptrend, right? So we just gotta wait. Gotta wait for price to either give us an inducement of the low to then continue, or I want to see a break of structure of the highs. But in this case, we're already at the bottom of the zone of consolidation. I'll be waiting for the inducement. We still have this daily engulfing candle here, so I will be expecting price to continue these downtrend pushes, and we can see that on the 4-hour time frame. Price actually did already give us another change of character down to the lows. So once again, we just got to be very careful and very patient while trading in these areas. Gold is another pair I'm not really trading. Once again, it's in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market where the market makers are just trapping traders. Right? Gave us a day of no net today where price was just moving sideways. We ended up the day right on no net, yeah. So just gonna be patient. As soon as the market opened, it just plummeted down. So I'm pretty sure that by the time we wake up in the morning to start trading, it's not even going to be. Pretty sure ADR STP is gonna be hit already. So, and again, we're still stuck. Oh man, wrong button. We're still stuck in a zone of consolidation here. Right. So once again, just want to be patient. There's nothing to trade. Once you're in a zone of consolidation, there's nothing more you could do. Just wait. Wait for the bus to come back. Bitcoin is another one that I'm not really trading. We'll update this here, but I'm not even going to update the 30-minute lows or highs just yet. Market closes in a minute for crypto. Gave us 3 days of drop. After 3 days of drop, expecting the market to either move sideways or go up. So gonna be an interesting day for crypto tomorrow. And then US oil, right? We know we're trading at a lower low. We're looking for a lower high, right? Overall, let's talk about this on the daily time frame. Right, we know that we're in an overall downtrend. We're in level 2, right? We had push number 1, level 1, first zone of consolidation. We had the break of structure of the first zone of consolidation down here that gave us a lower low. We were looking for the lower high. The lower high was set, right? Gave us a beautiful retest of the engulfing candle that we had here, and then continued the push to the bottom side, right? And instead of just giving us a simple lower high going into a lower low, it decided to give us a zone of consolidation, right? In the zone of consolidation, we were looking for price to give us a break of the lows, which it did, right? It gave us a break of structure lower low, and now I'm looking for a lower high. So oil is definitely going to be another one on my watch list for this week. We're looking for price to bounce off the 200, which we are bouncing off of right now. Again, we still have this 4-hour engulfing candle here that price hasn't tapped into yet. So could price damn, could price push higher and give us a steeper pullback to tap into that 4-hour engulfing candle? Absolutely. But at this point for oil, this is our first point of interest. So if price decides to it gave us a change of character, let's update. If price decides to start giving us lower lows and lower highs in these areas, then we'll take the trade, no problem. But as of right now, it just gave us a change of character back to the top side. So we want to be very careful. Again, very similar to the other pairs. You just want to be very careful, want to be patient, keep an eye on what we need to look for, and then we'll go on from there. So that's pretty much for our list. And then Kendall wanted me to go over NAS. So we could do that real quick. So, NAS is again fairly similar to US 30, and it's similar to every other pair, right? Like again, the whole point for the market makers is so they could beat you. And they're going to induce you in peak highs or peak low territory. So just off the bat, the fact that we're trading at peak high territory, right? That's the number one thing you want to keep an eye on. As we go down into the lower time frame, right, we can see that a little shoulder head shoulder. It doesn't look that clean, right? But a little shoulder head shoulder action here, right? So there's a whole bunch of things that we could talk about, but just keep it simple for yourself. Like 4 hour time frame, yeah, we're trading higher high, higher low, higher high, right? We have the exhaustion candles on the 4 hour time frame, right? That tells us that price wants to continue higher. But we're trading in peak high territory. That's really all that this is, right? Even when we go down into the 30-minute time frame, right? We were trading higher high, higher high, lower low change of character. Then price came up and gave us a higher high change of character, right? So on the 30-minute time frame, we're still like look how big these zones are, right? We're trading between this low and this high, right? So there's really not a lot that we could go off of here, right? When we go into a lower time frame, yeah, in the lower time frame we had lower low, lower low, change of character, higher high, right? But before I could take a trade going long, what do I need to see? I need to see a valid break of structure of these highs, right? So it's middle of the zone, yeah, exactly. And on top of everything else, in between this high and this low, we're trading right in the middle of it, right? And we already know the middle of the zones is where the market makers are just collecting contracts. They're inducing traders, right? They're trapping traders to get into a trade to go straight to stop loss. So that's all that this is. Like it's again, there's no difference between NAS and AUD/USD. There's no difference between NAS and GU. There's no difference. All of these pairs are treated and again traded the exact same way, and we just gotta treat them that way, right? It's again like I'm not gonna treat you no different because you have 200 pips more than the other one. Like no, I don't care, right? You gotta treat trading the same way you treat people. Like I don't care that you're a billionaire. I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat a janitor, right? We're all humans at the end of the day. I'm gonna treat you the same way. I don't care who you are, right? It's the same way with trading. I don't care that you're gold. I don't care that you're silver. I don't care that you're Bitcoin. I don't care that you're US 30. I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat AUD/USD. I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat EURUSD. And right now, there's just nothing to trade. Like we're in peak high territory. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I said with EuroCAD. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I said with GBPAUD. We're in peak high territory. There's nothing to trade here. I'm good. You know what I mean? There's nothing to trade. 4 hour break, but the inducement, yeah, it was a clean 4 hour break. But once again, when we're looking at it in the higher picture, like yeah, it's a 4 hour break, but what are we doing on the daily time frame? Right, daily time frame, we could see a little bit clearer shoulder head shoulder than the 4 hour. But again, in order for us to even consider to start taking these trades going short, we need to see a valid break of the lows. So that's really all that there is to it. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's all the same thing. You just gotta treat these trades the exact. You gotta treat all of the pairs the exact same way. There's no difference. No established trend. Yep, exactly. But that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. Any questions? Any other pairs you want me to go over real quick? Let me know. Again, as of right now, US oil and NZD USD look like the best pairs to keep an eye on. And we could already see again, if you're not patient waiting for those breaks, NZD USD went straight to stop loss if you got into the trade early. Right, so again, just want to be careful, guys. This is a game about patience, right? And above everything else, this is a game about just knowing the rules. If you know your rules, then you know the rules. That's it. There's nothing more to it. You either know it or you know it. There's no in between. NZD news, I'm not sure. I could look at that for you right now though. Um, but I doubt it. Not at this time. Yeah, no, there's no news. Tomorrow there's news at 2:30 for CAD. That's pretty much the only thing we have for tomorrow. And then medium impact news at 10 for USD. and 8:30 in the morning for USD for medium impact. But no, there's no high impact news. There's not even no NZD news either. This is just the market moving, man. Just the market moving, catching the late traders who didn't cash out. The traders who got into the trade late. The traders who believe that this is a break of structure and we're going to continue to go lower. They're hitting everybody's stop loss right now. So that's all this is. 70 pip stop on NZD USD. I don't know about all of that, my brother. I'm going to be honest. All I know is that I'll be looking for a lower time frame confirmation for entries to continue that push down to the bottom. Trump is talking right now. Where? White House speaker live stream. Let's see. Oh, I have to go get a Tylenol, man. My fucking head hurts now. This is not good. I don't see Trump speaking right now. You lied to me. He dismissed. Oh, wow. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. There's gonna be, on top of everything else, we have political news that affects the markets too. So I'm assuming that's not even NZD news. It'll be all the USD pairs are moving the same way. Yeah, as you can see, all the USD pairs are gonna be doing the same exact thing. So just want to be patient, man. Be patient. Weird, bro. I'm telling you, like, yo, how is it that US 30 is pushing down, but everything else is pushing up, man? I don't know. Don't ask me. Yeah, that's been the common theme throughout this entire month and last month too. Like all the pairs that supposed to correlate or the difference in correlations, they're just doing the complete opposite. Like they're not even following what they usually do. So again, like I said this morning, and like I said all of last week, pretty much is just gotta be patient, man. Wait for the wait for your confirmations, man. Wait for the setups to be present and then take them. There's nothing else to it. Again, trading is boring. I've always said it. I will always say it, and I will continue to say it. Trading is the most boring thing you could do in your life, in my opinion. But there's nothing else I would rather do. I would rather be bored here at home than be bored in an office, getting paid fucking pennies to the dollar, having a boss in my ear all day. I would rather be my own boss. So, emotional wicks, that's all this is. All the people who get excited about trading. Oh my God, look at this candle, look at the wick. I'm getting in, I'm getting in. They're again gamblers. We can't even say traders. They're gamblers, and I'm glad that I'm not part of their system, man. But yeah, guys, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go offline? Let me know. I'm gonna take my medicine early today, bro, because I don't know what just happened, but I got a crazy headache. Any other pairs you want me to talk about? If not, then we'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 in the morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, for the live trading session. Thank you, brother. All good. No worries, my brother. Hope you wake up better tomorrow. Thank you, agent. I should, man. I should. I definitely feel better than I did yesterday. I definitely feel better. Um, I definitely feel better than I did this morning. I could say that for sure. So hopefully tomorrow I'll definitely feel a lot better. Alright guys, no questions in the chat. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace out.